Okay, Science 20, we're back. Okay, so I've been talking in the last couple of videos about unsaturated hydrocarbons. These are the ones that have double and triple bonds in them. Well, we have naming rules for them as well, and that's what we're going to be looking at today. So when it comes to our naming rules, uh, we can categorize them based on how many double bonds and triple bond or multiple bonds there are. Now, an alkane, we've already done the naming rules for those. These are the ones that have only single bonds, no multiple bonds at all with them. An alkene is a hydrocarbon that has at least one double bond, and the alkyne is one that has one triple bond. So make sure that we pay attention to the ending of these words. Now, when we did the alkanes, we were talking about methane, ethane, propane, octane, hexane. They all ended in A and E. Well, the alkene and alkynes are going to have something similar. And so we're going to use a lot of the rule, well, basically the same rules as what we learned with alkane. So we're going to use the prefix meth for one carbon, eth for two, prop for three, etc., etc. However, we're going to change the endings. If there are double bonds, we're going to change the ending from ANE to ENE. And that's what we'll use for the alkenes. The YNE, the kynes, that's for the alkynes. That is for the triple bonds. Now, when giving them the name, we have to identify that the double or triple bond has to be in the longest continuous chain of the carbon atoms. And so we find that largest chain and we number it so that the double or triple bond receives the lowest possible number. Now that means you could be coming from one end or coming from the other end. And we use that number in the name to communicate where the double or triple bond is going to be found. So for example, here we've got a butane, which is a four carbon compound. I'm just going to, yeah. So you'll see we got one, two, three, four, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hydrogen. So C4H10. Well, if we added a double bond here, then we could be numbering our carbons. So double bond starts here. So if we start numbering at this end, we're going to go 1, 2, 3 is where the double bond starts. But if we start at this end, we're going to give it the number 1. So we want to use the lowest number possible when it comes to where these double bonds are going to be. So this is a double bond, so that means we're going to have the ending ENE, and the double bond starts at carbon number 1. This is what we will call 1-butene. You could also go with but-1-ene. I believe in the Chem 20 or in Chem 30, your Chem 30 teacher, at least Mr. Daw is who's the Chem teacher right now, and he prefers having the one embedded in the middle of it like this. Make sure you have the hyphen on both sides. I'm not going to care too much one way or the other. But if you're going to be taking Chem 30, just heads up, that's probably how you're going to be asked to do it. Incidentally, we can take the same format and this time, instead of having, I'm just going to fix that there. So instead of having the double bond start on the first carbon, I'm going to have it start on the second carbon. Okay, so there's our double bond. And so when we name this one, we identify where the double bond is. Now, it really doesn't matter whether we start numbering from this end, 1, 2, 3, 4, double bond starts at number 2, or if we start numbering at this end, 1, 2, 3, 4, because the double bond is going to still be starting at carbon number 2. Now, what I haven't added in here yet were the hydrogens. And when it comes to placing the hydrogens around a double bond, I'm not, well, actually, yeah, I'll put the hydrogens in here. When it comes to putting these hydrogens in, I personally like to just kind of divide it up a little bit. That should be bonded there with the line. The red line is the number 1, in case you're wondering. Anyways, so set it up like this. We still have the same formula, still going to be C4H8, but we're going to call this 2-butene. And so, yes, we can also go but-2-ene. But yes, this will have different properties than 1-butene. Okay. Now, if we're to put the double bond here between these two carbons, well, it's the same thing as what we have over here. You're just start numbering from the right side and move your way left. So it's still going to be 1-butene. It'd be the same as like taking this picture and flipping it around. It's the same molecule. Okay. When it comes to the alkynes, so again, we'll take the 4 carbon. So that's the but prefix. And again, we start our numbering of the carbons at the end that's closest to the double bond, or in this, sorry, the triple bond in this case. And then so that's going to be 1-butyne or but-1-ine. Both of those are fine. And again, just like with the other. With the alkenes, we can actually have the triple bond here, and that would give us 2-butene. Okay, so let's take a look at this one right here as an example on how we would number this. I'm going to have you guys do this one. This one is pretty straightforward on its own. It's kind of like what we've been doing before, but I want to do this one here as a little bit of practice, and then you can work on some of the others. So our approach then would be to find the longest carbon chain. Now I could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all the way across, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all the way down. When it's possible, I like having the longest chain in a straight line, but please note it doesn't have to be. Anyway, so that's our longest chain. So this is going to be a pent prefix because the carbon number equals 5. Double bond is here, so we would start our numbering on the left side and go left to right, and that would give us the double bond starting at the 2nd carbon. So we're going to go 2-pentene. However, what we also have to keep in mind is that we also have an ethyl group. And we're going to put the ethyl group in front of that. And so then this would be found again on the number 2. So we would call it 2-ethyl 2-pentene. Another way you could write it, 2-ethyl pent-2-ene. Anyways, I personally kind of like having the number come ahead of it. Doesn't matter too much to me, but this is my preference. If this is what you like, go for it. Use that. All right, so that is it for how we do the naming. So there's some pages in the textbook that I would recommend that you go through and you start getting some practice. I'll also have some practice for you. But what we're looking at in this case would be example problems 3.2 through 3.5 in your textbook. So have a look at those. Get that practice in. If you're having troubles, let me know. Here to help. But hopefully you get those mastered quickly. I'll see you in our next video.